Well, as predicted, the Bulls lost easily in the first round. Their defense was awful. DeMar DeRozan did not win them a playoff series. But actually, all of the predictions were wrong. This wasn't the Bulls' fault. The defense was bad because, I don't know, they didn't have Alex Caruso or Lonzo Ball. DeRozan wasn't Superman because they fell to 6th and had to play the Bucks. The experts were wrong, but it didn't even matter. They still got embarrassed. So will Zach LaVine actually leave in free agency? First, the offseason basics. Cap space, $0. Exceptions, they have the full $10.3 million mid-level and the biannual exception. They need to get healthy, get better on defense, and some power forward depth behind Patrick Williams. Draft, they have the 18th overall pick. Their relevant free agents, the big one, Zach LaVine, and also Derrick Jones Jr. And speaking of those predictions, they were projected for 42.5 wins, but they actually won 46 games. Despite what happened. Because what happened was ugly. At first, the Bulls made people like me make apology videos because they were awesome. Not only were they the 1 seed all the way to the All-Star break, DeMar DeRozan was a starter. Zach LaVine also made the team. But after that, they imploded. They went 9-20 the final 3 months of the season, including 1-14 overall against the best teams in the East. They ranked 25th on offense and 25th on defense after the All-Star break with so many injuries. Zach LaVine, Alex Caruso, Lonzo Ball, and Patrick Williams all missed time. So you could say health is all they really need this offseason. But I think a big trade is coming because they did struggle against the best competition. But first, Zach LaVine's future, and spoiler alert, no, he's not gonna leave in free agency. I was just trying to make it dramatic. But there are huge moves coming for the Bulls. I already made an entire video about where Zach LaVine could go if he wants to leave the Bulls, but in the end, I think Chicago can just offer so much more money. Zach LaVine can make $212 million over 5 years. That would drop to 4 years, $157 million if he went to a different team. Chicago obviously wants to give him less money to save cap space, but Zach has all the leverage because he is the best free agent on the market and they cannot afford to lose him. Re-signing LaVine is the easiest prediction this offseason, so let's move on to the good stuff. First, Nikola Vucevic. Vooch is actually up for an extension. He could get 4 years, $118 million from Chicago, but I would not do that. I mean, Vooch improved his defense some, but the East is different, especially at center. Giannis, Embiid, Bam Adebayo would all take advantage, especially in the playoffs. You are not competing for a title with Vooch's defense in the paint. The idea with Vooch, though, is, his offense will make up for it. Not this year. He scored his lowest points in 4 seasons. His three-pointer was so off that Cade Cunningham and Russell Westbrook were the only worst guys of qualified players. Seriously, Cade and Russ. What I would do, though, is offer Vooch a much lower contract for 2 years, like 40 to 45 million. That way, he and DeRozan are off the salary cap at the exact same time so they can open up as much space as possible, or they could easily trade him if needed. If Vooch says no, then you let him ride out this season and look for a trade right now. But before we get to trades and free agency for the Bulls, we have to touch on the NBA draft. The Bulls had better nail this pick because they don't have a lot going forward. This is a look at the damage from the Vooch and DeRozan deals. Next year's pick goes to the Magic from getting Vooch. Also next year, they do have the Blazers first round pick, but if Portland makes the playoffs, they don't get that pick, and they probably will make the playoffs. In 2024, Chicago does have their own pick, but the next season, their first goes to San Antonio. So this year, with the 18th pick, I think they should take Ochai Agbaji, a wing from Kansas. He's not the forward they're looking for, but unless Tari Eason is on the board, Agbaji is a steal. He is a 6'5" plus defender who shot 46% from 3 the first 2/3 of the season. He is great as a cutter, which works with DeRozan's playmaking, and as a 215-pound senior, he is ready to contribute right away, which is exactly what they need from this pick. Next, trades, and this is actually a huge problem. To bring in talent, don't know if you know this, you either need future picks or good young players. And the Bulls don't have a lot of either of those. They cannot trade a first outside of this year because of protections to the Magic and the Spurs. So it is either deal this first round pick in 2022 or that Blazers pick, and that's it. As for good young players, well, look, I think they should keep Ayo Dosunmu, who is a steal. I think they should keep Patrick Williams, who could become an all-star. Their one young tradable player is Kobe White. And I know that he was a beast from three this year, 39% from deep, but the team was outscored by 53 points with Kobe on the court in the playoffs. Can someone tell me what this flop even was? That cannot happen for a contending team, but he is young enough to still have value to other teams. So what about the Bulls getting Harrison Barnes, the Kings getting Kobe White, Troy Brown Jr., their 2022 first, and the Blazers 2023 protected first? The Bulls might prefer, I don't know, Jeremy Grant at power forward, but other teams have more to offer the Pistons. Harrison Barnes is more realistic. I know Sacramento already has guards, but they need Kobe's three-point shooting, and he would be insurance in case they do end up trading De'Aaron Fox. 2 picks to give for Harrison Barnes sounds like a lot, but they're both late first-round picks. Barnes can stretch the floor, he can score, and he can defend. Plus, he is sneaky young actually at just 29 years old. But the dream, let's be honest, unrealistic trade. The Lakers get Zach LaVine, that 2023 Portland first, and the Bulls get Anthony Davis. And look, you can kind of see this from both sides, right? I mean, Chicago gets an NBA champion, top 5 in the league when he's at his best. LA moves on from AD because they need major changes, and this is really the only big move they can make. But the problem is obvious. AD at his best is kind of like a theory. He's never actually at his best because he's always injured. And yeah, Zach LaVine is gonna have knee surgery this offseason, but he's not injury prone like AD. However, LaVine is not playoff proven. AD is, so the Lakers could argue they are raising Chicago's ceiling with this sign and trade and sending AD back home. But this is a dream trade because it will never happen. If Zach LaVine demands a sign and trade to the Lakers, the Bulls aren't getting AD. The most they could get is Russ and 2 first-round picks. If you want to know why, check out my Zach LaVine free agency video. What about free agents? Because this is a serious way the Bulls can improve their roster. They have a lot of ammo to give free agents. The full mid-level exception and the biannual. And with those, I think their free agent targets should be Otto Porter Jr., Jalen Brunson for depth, and he's good in the playoffs, Mitchell Robinson at center, especially for defense, Nick Claxton for the same reason, and they could steal him from Brooklyn. Also, Bruce Brown and Thomas Bryant as a flyer / young insurance policy if they trade Vooch. We are cranking out these off-season videos. We have a whole playlist right now. We're coming up on like a third of the league. We still have to do teams that they're getting eliminated so quickly. It's hard for me to keep up, but like got the Hawks out yesterday, Bulls today, we'll do Nuggets, and we will continue on and on. Check out, catch up on the playlist. It's right here.